Hello. Well, this is a bit of a stretch. For such a long time, I lived in such secrecy, trying to obscure myself, make sure nobody knows what the hell is going on with me. And for a while, it made sense. I was doing things people shouldn't find out about. But I think there's a good time for all of that. But I think that time's changed. I've wanted to do something like this for such a long time. I've always thought about it. But yet, fear obscured my vision, constrained my soul, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't do this even if I wanted to. Like I said, I lived obscured for so very long, not wanting people to know what the hell was going on. But deep down, it's just because I was afraid. Afraid of what people might say or do, possible repercussions of everything, and getting closer to myself and who I truly am and becoming more integrated with my actions has been quite the journey. It's taken steps, and it started off with, first off, admitting some of these things to myself a little, and then talking to friends and family and even strangers about some of the things I've experienced, some of the things I've done, ways I feel, thoughts I have. And I've gotten to a point now where I really don't care. I spent the last 3 weeks hanging out with random people in the bushes, and it's gonna be kind of loud here, sorry. I am around some trains. But yeah. I spent the last little while out in the bushes with some strangers, and it was really weird. These people didn't know anything about me, and then they kind of acted like they did. And it was their job to get a gauge on me, get a feel for me. But they didn't know who I was. I was just there. And I was just doing a job. I met some very nice people, I met some very rude people. And it kind of made me think to myself, what these people think of me has no impact on me. Besides potentially my future career in this industry if I want to pursue such a thing. But I do not. To me, it was simply a paycheck. And these people, they were stuck. Many of them, not all of them, but they were stuck. Either because they actually had families to feed and they had to have these jobs, or beautiful terminology that was given to me by a former coworker was the concept of golden handcuffs, and I think that's very interesting. So the golden handcuffs are essentially you work this job, you make these payments, and then eventually, say there's a bit of wiggle room, you fill that wiggle room with payments, and then you're stuck. You're stuck until these payments are gone, but then guess what? Your expectation of the lifestyle you deserve that you already have stuck in your head that you have to work this hard for and do this type of thing for, it just keeps going. And the way these jobs are designed is so that you literally only have time to work. And there's this theory I've been working on, and I'm gonna come up for a name with it right now. It's we'll call it a compensation lifestyle. Okay, so when you live in the deep extremes and you work 84 hours a week and then you have a little bit of time off, you're going to blow all of that money. I'd say you don't enjoy your job. Okay, you work 84 hours a week, you don't enjoy your job. So you're gonna eventually start living the compensation lifestyle, where you feel yourself diminish because you're doing this and you don't care about it. And then you get your time off. Bam! And then you just blow all your money. You just do all this dumb shit because you have to feel that sense of being alive and being yourself again, even though over time it just erodes at you because you spend all your conscious awareness doing shit you don't give a fuck about. You do it because you want the paycheck, and eventually you do it long enough you forget why you wanted the paycheck. And that's how you get caught in the fucking cycle. So I'm here and I observe all of this, and I'm just a kid. I don't have a fucking family. I don't have like shit to really care about that heavily. I've traveled, I've done all this shit, I've blown all my paychecks, I've done it all. And I just like don't give a fuck. That's my biggest thing. I do not give a damn. So it's like, well, I don't need a brand new truck. I don't need a fucking giant house. I don't need like the finer things in life. I don't need it. Of course it'd be cool. Of course everybody thinks that shit would be cool. But I don't need it. You know what I value much more? Is freedom. Freedom of my own fucking time. Freedom of my own energy. Freedom to go do things that I give a fuck about. Freedom to be myself. And that's a big, big thing for me, is authenticity. It took me a long fucking time to just be okay. It goes back to the fear thing I was saying earlier. Fear of even doing this is its authenticity. From the point of authenticity, I heard this somewhere on the interwebs, on the line, a while ago. And I think it's good. It's really good. It's like, I don't know, I might put it up on the screen here or something, but there's this vibration fucking thing. That's a horrible explanation of it, but like, essentially, it's about your vibes and how like attractive and everything it is. And I'm speaking from like a kind of spiritual magnetic terminology, but up high is like love and peace and joy. Down below is like fear and shame and stuff, and in the middle is like acceptance, courage, stuff like that. But up at the very top, I heard, and it's something I've really thought about a lot, is higher than all of it is authenticity. And I truly think that is fucking gold. That is gold right there. Authenticity, because you own it. It completely negates the shadow aspects. Well, not necessarily negates, but more so integrates the shadow aspects. Well, exemplifying the highest of the high. Because that's what it's all about. Because when you're just being you, you're just simply existing in pure flow. Existing as you are, with no attachment. Like the Buddha says, you know, you want to live without that attachment. Unless, you know, like I'm kind of fucked like that, you know, sometimes you need a little bit of suffering. And it's true, you do need some suffering sometimes. Suffering brings the peace, brings the joy. Because without any suffering, if you just had constant peace and joy and love, you wouldn't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, it would just be, that's just the way it is. You would have no gratitude for it. Maybe you would, but you'd still have to have some kind of awareness that this stuff exists. You don't need to be constantly reminded, but it has to be made aware. And so here I am, out at this dead-end road. It may not look like a dead-end road, but the dead-end road is behind me, and I'm talking to you. I don't know how long I want this video to go on. Maybe it has gone on long enough, but I might chop some parts of this out. I'm not too sure. Probably parts where the trains are in. And stuff like that, but it's been a fucking journey. It's been quite the journey. And the more as time goes on, the more I think money is not what's important. What's important is you. What you enjoy. So follow that joy. Follow those things you care about, those visions in your head, those ideas you have, because sometimes they're not always there. And what a blessing it is to be able to explore. To be able to explore, to be curious, to start new endeavors, to speak your mind freely, to be who you are. You know, you don't have to fit into these boxes these people try to put you in. These ideas that they think are gospel. You can do whatever the hell you want. And I'm a big proponent of that. Because if you can't, then what the hell are you doing? You're living somebody else's story. And you don't want to live somebody else's story, do you now? You want to live your own story. Even if you think somebody else's story is mighty fine, I guarantee there's some modifications you'd like. So there's no problem with modeling your story after somebody else. Who cares? But I have to say, if you're not being true to yourself, the whispers in the walls know. And the whispers in the walls, they've got strings everywhere. You know, it takes a lot of mistakes to really figure out what the hell you want to do, where the hell you want to go, why the hell you are where you are. And yes, I speak with a certain amount of profanity, but that's just the way I am. And if you don't like it, you can fuck right off. But, you know, without some of the mistakes I've made, perceived mistakes I've made, errors in the journey, dead ends I've walked down, I wouldn't know that they're dead ends. And yes, it would be lovely to get that time and energy back, whatever form it may be in. But guess what? It's my story. And there's no story if there's no opponent, if there's no opposition, if there's no goal, if there's no challenge. It's what makes us who we are. And yes, I know people have things way harder than I do. People have struggles. And I salute you for waking up every day and dealing with that shit. But I'm telling you right now, everything can get so much fucking better. Who cares how dark of a fucking night it's been? Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. You just gotta go. You just gotta run. You see that fucking vision, you see that goal, and you fucking go for it. That's what you're supposed to do. So now, I'm gonna try and wrap this up. I don't even know if I'm gonna use this video. It's kind of been everywhere. But you gotta start somewhere. And I don't know, maybe the next one will be on one of my biggest starting somewheres that I ever had. But not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with this channel or how these videos will be structured. But I've got a few ideas, none worth speaking on right now. But yeah, I really look forward to this journey and sharing it with all of you, whoever you may be, as the time comes along. And I was talking to a good friend yesterday, and he said, I was telling him I was planning on doing this. I had already bought this tripod and stuff. And he said, well, fuck, that would be so cool if it blew up. And I said, even if it doesn't, I'm still good. I've got this catalog of my life that I've recorded, these tapes of me just existing, speaking my conscious stream of awareness into reality. Who I am and what I'm doing at the time, where I am, what's going on. And I think there's something inherently valuable about that. I don't know why I'm coughing. But, yeah. I hope this does well. Of course I do. But I'm also going to act on it too. And that's a big part. Salutations to all of you. Have a wonderful day. Whenever the hell this may find you, I hope something in it has served you well. Au revoir, mon chéri.